r/AskReddit by Reddit for life. What is the quickest way someone f***ked up their chances of dating you? Went out on a first date without telling me they had a boyfriend, then broke up with her boyfriend during the date to make themselves available for me. At least they aren't a cheater, I guess. Backquote, I think you will find all the paperwork is in order. LMAO, my ex tried to do that, but then he claimed he didn't have service where he was in the basement of her house, and so the text he'd written must not have sent. But he's not a cheater. Look, here's the timestamp. 1mm thin ice at best tbh. Was chatting with that guy on Tinder. We were hitting quite well, and he seemed nice, interesting, and balanced. He was a pharmacist, important for the story, and worked not too far from where I worked too, so I suggested to go grab a drink after work and get a first impression. He answered he would rather we meet at his place. I politely declined, explaining that I would feel much more comfortable if our first meeting was in a public place. His answer? I just want to abuse you for an hour. Even in a public place I could slip something in your drink and you would be none the wiser. So, my place. The sudden shift from funny and smart to utter psychopath froze me, and I blocked that asshole ASAP. And people say that romance is dead. Not dead, just strangled unconscious and tied to a radiator. I had been talking to this guy for a little bit and agreed to a date. Up until then, there were no red flags and I was really excited to meet him. Later that day, he sent me a text calling it off because he wasn't feeling it between us. I respectfully understood and wished him luck. Never did I expect that he'd unleash an angry tirade of texts about how he had been testing me to gauge if I was truly interested. Apparently, I was supposed to fight or try to convince him to go on the date, but since I hadn't, I was clearly just stringing him along. I tried to reassure him that I was just respecting his wishes, but he wasn't having it. I went to bed shortly after and woke up to like 20 plus texts from him calling me a bitch and a horrible person for going to bed without finishing our discussion first. It was the weirdest case of self-sabotage I had ever seen. It hurt itself in its confusion. Incels really be like this though? Nope. An incel would not have gotten that far. This was an isekai. I had this happen to me as well. We had a small discussion about something, and after we hung up he texted me saying he doesn't want to talk anymore today, so he'll be quiet / not responding. I said, okay, I understand that, and I'm looking forward to talking to him again. Cue further texts how I just readily agreed to him suggesting that, and that he thought it was heartless. Bitch, what? I'm 27, was at that time, and you bet your ass I'm gonna take your words at face value. No time for that kinda bullshit. Good thing is, I explained this all to him, and in the end he said he realized he was acting immature. But stuff like that is really beyond me. He bragged about killing small baby birds with his friend for fun. He wasn't only violent to animals, but to people too. Like whenever someone pissed him off he would assault them. Edit. €10 and I'll leak the account JKJK. Likely a future serial killer. More likely that he'd kill someone in a fit of anger and get sent to jail for that, I'd think. Serial killing isn't that common even among people with serious anger / abuse issues. Yeah, I'd think so. I mean, yeah, even if most serial killers have abused animals, it's not to say that a given animal abuser is likely to be a serial killer. He punched a wall over me not watching South Park. Edit. Stop telling me to watch South Park, I'm not going to. I love how half the replies to this are well, South Park really is a masterpiece. He probably was just showing you the wrong episodes. I had an ex who shouted at me for 15 minutes because I preferred my cheese sandwich without mustard. Feels like a similar level of overreacting to things that are none of his damn concern. Good thing you got out of a relationship where people are putting mustard on cheese. Holy shit. You don't watch South Park. Punch his computer screen. When I overheard her talking to her friends that she only dates people she can take use of and starts flirting with me 10 minutes later. We were dating and getting pretty serious, and he finally brought me home to meet his daughter, single dad. As I was leaving, he grabbed me by the collar and said that if I ever hurt his daughter, he would kill me and make it look like an accident. Here I thought psycho overprotector dads only did that to their daughters' boyfriends. Ironically enough, I ended up getting married to a single father. Kind of makes you wonder what happened to his ex. Vertical bar. An accident involving a pistol, 2 shots to the back of the head, a briefcase, and an exterior lock. It's really sad how unpreventable these kinds of deaths are these days. This is petty AF, I know. Went on a date with a guy from Ghana, and he was already skating on thin ice with me, showing up an hour late, insulting my friends from South Africa, etc. But then when it came to hobbies it officially crashed and burned. It was drab at first, but then after seeing Tom and Jerry playing on one of the bar TVs, I decided to move the topic to TV shows and movies. People like what they like, but when this guy saw the cartoon, he went off on this spiel about hating cartoons, them being stupid, and that any intelligent adult wouldn't watch something like that. Again, we've all got opinions, but his were just so, I dunno, mean. Plus I absolutely love watching cartoons, so there's that. Duck that guy. When my wife and I first started dating, she was switched to third shift. The night before her first third shift she mentioned that she needed to stay up all night so she could flip her schedule. I offered to stay up with her and we hung out, got to know each other more, and watched old Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes shorts all night long. Showing up an hour late is an immediate end to the date. Not liking cartoons? Yes, double hell no. I was miffed from him being late definitely, but seeing as I had traveled so far to meet up, it's an extra 30 to 40 minutes from where I live by subway, I chalked it up to shit happens. The cartoon thing was the final nail in the coffin however. I'm in my 50s and still enjoy cartoons, even have a Bugs Bunny production cell. It's art, so a person can like what they like, and to be an ass about a specific art type or style is too petty. They gave me an armchair diagnosis of Asperger's before the food arrived on our first date, and somehow you didn't fall in love with them on the spot? They aren't sure. They have a hard time identifying emotions, what with the Asperger's and all. Immediately started hating on people that we both know that weren't there. This girl and I had lots of overlapping friends, but hadn't really talked much. Heard she was crushing on me and was kinda shy, so I asked her out and we got coffee. It was fine for about 40 seconds until she just started talking shit about a bunch of people we both knew. Nope the fuck out. I'm sure she went and talked shit about me afterwards, but whatever. I don't wanna be around that kind of negativity all the time. He complained to the manager in a restaurant that the waitress wasn't smiling enough. On the first date, he insisted that we go visit my youngest daughter at her place of employment so that I could introduce him to her. Suffice it to say, that didn't happen, as there's absolutely no way I would ever do anything like that to my daughters. I insisted that we not do it, eventually had to lie to him and tell him, I don't think she's at work right now anyway, because he was so insistent. This was even after I told him that I'd come from a domestic violence background. For those of you who don't know it, a date telling you that means that's your cue to take things more slowly and let your date get to know you over the course of the next few weeks. Huge red flag. After the date was over, I sent the thanks so much, but we are not compatible text. We never went out again. Talked about different color Hulks that lived on planet Hulk for a solid hour. Got angry when I said that I thought Hulk was only green. Then started to cry and wail when he asked me out, and I said no. Fun times. Hulk no smash. Open bracket. I once went on a date with this guy, and on the ride home there was this guy crossing the street and he called him a racial slur. I have never gone from liking someone to being completely disgusted by them that fast before. Had SDH similar happen to me. On a first date we were walking past an African wedding party who was taking pictures in a lakeside park. He started joking about throwing them into the lake and then started harping on about refugees. I was shocked and disgusted. I gave him a piece of my mind and then I left. Shitting on the band that were playing at the concert at which we had just met and claiming they didn't like this type of music. Their band was much better. Mate, I've left my house and paid money to see these guys play. How are you expecting this to work? It might not be a big story compared to the others here, but whatever. Some guy was hitting on me at a bus stop. Super fun dude, and I was really flattered because no one ever hits on me. I was dressed all goth back then, and after a while another woman stood at the bus station who was also kinda gothy. I looked at her and thought, damn, she looks so cute. What a great style. She looks really friendly too, and is probably a lot of fun to be around, just kinda general positive thinking. The dude noticed me looking at her and whispered, you look so much prettier than her, she's super ugly. Not only was that shallow as hell and felt like a really calculated statement, also it was a lie because she was cute on his part, but I also hate the pitting women against each other kinda thing. So I just mentally crossed him out and never gave him my number or anything. Throughout the next weeks I occasionally saw him hitting on other women at the bus stop. I think the guy just desperately wanted to get laid. Orlando, you little mutt. I went to a Christian university. Typically at these schools, if you are friendly with the opposite sex, people assume you're dating. Super annoying, but it is what it is. Anyway, the choir director asked me, a sophomore at the time, and a freshman, if we would play accompaniment for a song that had optional parts for banjo and guitar. So as we are practicing we are talking, and he reveals that he's been having a hard time making friends. So I invite him to come to a game night with my friend group. They don't like him very much because he's kind of annoying, but we talk about it and decide to give him another chance because maybe he felt awkward and out of place. We invite him to the movies with us, and it ends up being me, my roommate, him, and one other guy friend who can make it. This guy then proceeds to start telling everyone that we went on a date. We all paid for ourselves. The next day one of my other friends asks me how my date went, and I was so lost. Cue later that afternoon when I went to talk to this kid about it and how I didn't appreciate that. Had just gotten out of an emotionally abusive relationship a few months prior and was practicing actually being assertive, and he tells me that he felt God was calling him to find his wife at this school. I said something about how I felt like I needed to be single for a while. He wasn't welcome to hang out with us anymore, and how I wished him good luck making some other friends. TL. Doctor, this guy spread that we went on a date on our small Christian campus, then implied that I was going to be his wife. One guy said something to the effect of wanting to kidnap me and keep me in his closet immediately after saying his favorite thing about hentai, yes, seriously, was when girls go dead behind the eyes. Another guy started going on about some sexual roleplay server he uses online and how he owns slaves in it and wishes it could be like that. Eye roll. Those are just the two that came to mind immediately. There are so many stories, lol. In college I was sitting in the student lounge minding my own business, messing around on my laptop. This group of guys sits down 20 feet away, and this one with long hair, poor hygiene, and a douche bag stoner persona starts talking to the others really loud about his exercise routine and how ripped he is under his hoodie. Complete and utter lack of awareness of his volume in a place designated for studying. Then he starts going off about how you can steep marijuana in vodka and give it to a girl. She won't even know there's marijuana because you can't taste it, and she'll get really fucked up, and you can basically do whatever you want to her. Then he starts bragging that he's good with the ladies and can have anyone he wants. Like, watch this. Gets up, walks over to me as if I hadn't just heard every word, and proceeds to say hi there. I looked up from what I was doing long enough to say, if you get any closer to me, I'm going to punch you in the throat. Now never talk to me again before I get security. Full disclosure, I've posted this in a what is the worst pickup line you've heard thread before. He informed me, mid-attempted seduction, I killed your cat. He really did. Now, to be fair, he had zero chance of getting with me, but he did give it a good solid try. He and my younger brother were elementary school classmates, and if not friends, neighborhood playmates. I was at a party my senior year of high school when he recognized me and started hitting on me. Problem was, I was a senior and he was in 8th grade. It's okay, though, I was held back twice, so I'm really only 2 years younger than you. Then when he told me recognized me from the old neighborhood, he came at me with the above zinger. He'd gotten a BB gun for Christmas when he was in 3rd grade and me in 5th. To test it out he tried it on my childhood cat, who disappeared that Christmas break and never came home. He told me in great detail how red and vibrant my cat's blood was on the snow. No, he did not get any, and yes, I did slap him across the face. R.I.P. Snowy. You were a great kitty who deserved a better ending. In the original posting, a lot of people suggested slapping was insufficient reaction, but I was still in HS, a good girl with high grades. This was probably only my 4th or 5th party in my life, and my bestie was trying to get the notice of cat murderer's bestie, and I was entertaining the dopey sidekick friend to do her a solid. I didn't have the sense of self back then that I do now. Brought his dog to the date. Did not control the dog. Did not pick up after the dog. Made zero effort at all to be bigger than the dog. Let his dog jump all over my dog. I want a family someday, and I dated seriously. This dude was not someone I was going to be raising a family with, given his approach to this little terrorizing dog who desperately needed some manners. He wanted a second date. I told him no thanks. I don't want to raise kids with you after seeing how you approach dog ownership. He was gobsmacked. I'm not the most appealing person. Just for context, I was 18, started to chat with this girl online. We had the same friends, same groups, same interests. I thought it'd be a walk in the park. We lived in different cities, 2-hour drive approximately, so it wasn't an everyday meetup between us. Second or third date, I've met her mom. The moment she saw me, she said, "You'd just be perfect for what we and she need," with a creepy expression. I waited for a little to see if she was joking or not, but she didn't even flinch. I've seen way too many horror movies like this, so I dipped quicker than ever before. It was sad, cause the girl was fine, and we seemed to be somewhat perfect. Saying I love you on the first or second date. Seriously, this happened to me twice. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to do exactly what the people did in this video. If you want to be alone forever, make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more.